Everyone, and welcome back to Extra Lap Podcast. Today, we're very lucky enough to have with us Wisconsin commit Patrick Hilby. Patrick, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for bringing me on the podcast. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. Big win at New Balance. So tell me about that. What went into that? What was the feeling, motion? What's going on?
Yeah, no, that was a surreal experience. Great, obviously great competition. Best runners in the country. Had a great race. Just the whole weekend was fun. NCAA's is there too, so it was fun to be a part of that a little bit. And then yeah, the race itself was just the goal going in was to win, obviously, but yeah, hopefully a fast time would come with it, and it did. A great race, and went out a little too fast. I feel like in the first 200, but maintained it at the end, and got the win. The feeling after is just amazing to hold that tape and like Tanoda Matsatsa giving me the tape and like giving me a hug after was a surreal experience. And just after talking with all the people and going back to school with the experience, it was a great weekend for sure.
Yeah, and doing my little research on you and figuring everything out, you ran 148 point. I mean, you PR'd it in the decimals, but like I feel like going into this race, obviously you've been a known runner, but just like giving you the credit, like being a returner sub 150 and going into it, it must have just been like, I don't know. It must have been like crazy. Was it just like a great momentum going for outdoor or?
Yeah, no, for sure. Last year indoor, I was a basketball player, so this is the first year I didn't play basketball. So I didn't really go to any big meets. My last year, my indoor PR was like 154. So I mean, just to make that jump to 148 this outdoor season was like it was not attainable at in March. I was like, there's no way I'm running that fast. And then winter training was good. I hit the weight room pretty hard, so I feel like that's very important also. And then just when I ran 150 at my first meet with my team, it was pretty surprising. I was thinking maybe 153, 154 shape, but just to run 150 this early and then coming in and running 148, already beating my PR from June last year in March is pretty confidence building going into this outdoor season for sure.
Yeah, and just looking at it, like how's the difference between an indoor 800 versus an outdoor 800?
Yeah, no, indoor 800 is very different in if you're in a pretty tight race, which I was fortunate enough to be in front the whole time and not have to deal with, but that traffic with the 800 being so fast, that traffic on those turns is just it's so hard to navigate. So that's why my emphasis going into the race was to get out hard and not have to deal with any of that traffic and maybe getting boxed in and then not having good position with a lap to go. And then, outdoor, it's kind of it's definitely a lot easier to navigate. But yeah, I feel like indoor 800 is a lot harder. But I'm just excited to get to those bigger ovals for sure, and that 800 for sure.
Yeah, and is there any like time goals you have in particular or any goals in general moving into outdoor?
Time goals, not too much. Obviously, there's the my state record set by Dan Watke last year is 147.7. And
Mhm.
then obviously, the big one with Michael Granville, 146.45. But I'm gonna try to not to put too much pressure on myself to get those time goals. I think the main goal for this outdoor season is to enjoy the rest of my senior year of high school with my teammates and just win some relays with them and just ultimately win some big races as well as hopefully, when I go out and compete, the times will come because once I step on campus next year, the whatever I did in high school is not really going to matter too much. So just the main focus is to stay healthy and enjoy what I have left of high school. But definitely those times are still lingering and in the distance for sure.
Yeah, and looking at like your experience at New Balance, it was kind of like an odd year having NCAs and New Balance kind of
Mhm.
overlap. So what was it like watching, kind of where you'll be, in the collegiates and everything and the feelings watching that?
Yeah, no, it's watching those NCAA 800s was pretty insane because in the prelims I think there's just eight guys that are running 147 right next to each other on an indoor track, and they're big, throwing elbows. It's very physical when it gets to that level because there's like there's grown men in that race, and they are just going 4 lanes wide, just absolutely flying. And once 147.2 I think was the best time in prelims, and that what made the finals like 147.7. So it's just like half, it's just a margin of error is so small, and just the physicality I think in college is a lot different than in
Mhm.
high school, and just you're gonna have to run fast times while dealing with six other guys next to you running that. So I think that's gonna be the biggest difference. But it was definitely a great experience to watch those races.
Yeah, and next year you're stepping foot in Wisconsin. So what was that like? What was that process and just going to Wisconsin like?
Yeah, no, the recruitment process for me, it came down to, it was a very hard decision because I loved all my visits, and it came down to, great program versus great program. But I think what did it for Wisconsin was obviously the team was amazing. They have some great guys. They had two guys run at the World Championships last year and who are also coming back to run for Wisconsin. Also, in the coaching staff, really connected with them. Super historic program for sure. Then obviously the academics is really strong for sure. Trying to get a good job after college if I don't, run professionally, which that's kind of the main focus, is to imagine like I'm gonna go run for 4 years and then have a job after. But then obviously the campus was super beautiful, probably one of the most beautiful campuses in the country, and just the location, it's only 2 hours from where I live, so I preferred to probably stay a little closer to home. But yeah, I mean that it was just the whole package for sure.
Yeah, and looking at like what you've done this season, you went from actually we'll start with this. How was the New Balance Grand Prix experience?
Oh yeah, that was a great experience for sure. Just I'm not gonna lie, I was very pretty scared for that one. I'm not gonna lie, because I've only been training for about a month, like workouts. I've been, running base runs and stuff since December, but just looking at the heat sheets and seeing the guys who are in my race, like every one of these guys could beat me. I could get dead last in this because obviously the mile's not my thing, but I just went into it with a mindset like, hey, I'm gonna put myself out there. I'm gonna go compete, and I'm gonna see what happens. First race of the year, I'm not sure what's gonna happen, so I put myself out there. And yeah, when you're in a race with JoJo Jordan going sub 4, you're bound to run fast. So I PR'd by 10 seconds. I've never run a full mile before, but my 1600 would have converted to like a 420 before this, and I ran 410. So that was a super confidence booster, obviously, also after running that for sure, especially going forward in the 800.
Yeah, and you said looking forward to outdoor. You're looking forward to the relays and everything. And I just gotta say, you gotta be like low key a relay weapon looking at your range. Between like 400 mile. I mean, I saw that you threw down even a 32. So what like
Oh,
what's your what went into the 32? I saw that. I was like, huh.
yeah, that was at like one of our home, like our school hosted like a meet with like two or three other schools. It's super low key. So
Mhm.
my coach is like, hey, just you're gonna run a 32, see what happens. Then I did like an open 4 and 4x4 as like a workout kind of thing. But yeah, the 32, I definitely don't train for that at all. But kind of the goal, I don't really know if there was a goal. Just kind of go that 450 range and see what happens. And I end up running like 944 or something. I think I can go a little faster this year. I think my school record's like not very impressive. It's like 939, so hopefully can break that this year. Maybe run a 32 one time, but yeah, I mean, definitely didn't really. And those the fifth and sixth lap outdoor in the 32 is pretty tough. So yeah, I think I'll maybe run 132 this year, but yeah, it was just good to see get different ranges in with events.
Yeah, and looking at like training and getting ready for the eight, how does that like kind of build up your season and get you season?
Yeah, so training like during the winter, I kind of do like base stuff more, like aerobic things, like I did like a few tempos. Sorry, and then I did some. Here, I gotta take a drink. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Oh man. Um, yeah, winter it's kind of more aerobic based. Do some interval workouts and then probably some longer stuff. But yeah, the main focus for like the early part of the season is to do longer, like if for like 200s is my main kind of workout. So February, March, and even January I'll do like 10 to 12 200s at a minute rest, minute 30 rest, like just getting more volume in. And then as the season builds on, it gets warmer outside, May, then you put the spikes on, do like 4 or 5 by 200 with like 4 minute rest. Kind of just, getting that final prep in, getting the sharpening legs up and running super fast, like sprinting. So I think it transitions from more mile stuff to more, 400 training as the season progresses.
Hmm. And like looking at this upcoming outdoor season, it's your final stamp on your high school resume. So, do you know in particular any races you're gonna race at, or?
I Yes, I'm racing. The next big race will be Arcadia, the 800 at Arcadia. So
Mhm.
super excited for that. See what I can do against again some elite level competition. I'm sure. So it's gonna be super good race racing with those guys, and then after that, probably want to get a fast mile in. But after that, usually it's just meets with my team, relays and kind of workout meets. Then we get to the state meet, and this year, I think our team's looking strong, so maybe we can win a trophy at state. So probably running a lot of events there, but that'll be exciting. Then postseason, I'm not 100% sure yet. Obviously, New Balance Outdoor for sure,
Mhm.
and then possibly U20s. They did that thing where it's like merged with Nike, so it's like a few days before New Balance. So I'm still trying to figure out all my postseason races, but that's kind of the layout for the season so far.
Yeah, and you keep bringing up your relays. Is it a 4x4, like 4x9?
Yeah, we have a good 4 by 8. We just had our indoor state meet this past weekend and we won both. Well, it's not like official, but like most of all the teams in our state go. And for our class, we won both the 4 by 8 and the 4 by 4. So I think it's super exciting to run with teammates and run for them. And I think relays are super fun part of track. And yeah, 4 by 4. We have good depth. We had a basketball player just come out and run track, so he's running well. Then we got two other guys we can maybe go. I don't know if we can win outdoors, potentially win outdoors. But right now we're top in our class in our state for 2A, and then the 4 by 8. I think we can get. We have a freshman running like he ran like two flat, so maybe we can get him down to high 150s and maybe run. Maybe win the state title there. I think our state record for our class at the state meet is like 751. So I mean that'll be exciting. I know Illinois in class three. We're in class 2A. The biggest class is 3A. And there's last year, I think there was two or three teams at the state meet go under 740. So glad we're in the smaller class for that for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, Illinois is a great state for like the 4 by 8. So I think yeah, relays are a big part of our team. I'm really looking forward to running with them.
Yeah, and when you're getting in a relay like a 4x8, what do you usually split, or what's usually just like? I mean, I assume you anchor, so what is that like?
Yeah, I've never really had on the 4 by 8. I never really had to like make a crazy chase down. Like I got the baton like in the lead on this past meet, so I split like a 155, I think it was, just to get it in for the team. But 4 by 4, I've had to have some chase downs, and like this past weekend, it was really fun. Just getting the stick behind and just having to rally back. I think my fastest split last year is like a low 48. So hopefully, yeah, the 400, I kind of want to go like 47 in the open or try to at least do that. But like the relays, nothing's better than the 4 by 4 when it's last event. Your whole team's, on the fence, like cheering for you, and you just get the baton and you just pass the pass the competition in the chase down way and win it for the team, and the whole team rushes the track. I think that's super important, super exciting part of track.
Yeah, and you said you're a basketball player last year. What position were you?
I was like a point guard, shooting guard. I was more of a defensive guy. Like I was
Oh,
a pretty good defender. I was a three and D type of guy. I wasn't that big of a weapon on offense, but when I get an open shot, I would shoot a three, maybe hit a three per game or something. But I was more of a defense for sure.
yeah, I used to play basketball too, and I would
Yeah.
say I was the 3D minus the three, but
Yeah. Sometimes my shooting isn't great, but every once in a while maybe.
the question I always ask this to every single person who did a sport outside of running: who is your pro comp? If you were to give yourself one pro comp.
Oh, honestly, I played football also, so I don't know my pro comp for football and basketball would be. Maybe I don't know a good like 3 and D guy. Maybe like not a Derrick Rose. I'm not as athletic. I'm not that athletic, obviously, but he was a good defense. I like maybe like Patrick Beverly, just kind of like
Yeah.
in your face, kind of pestery, and not the best offensive player, just kind of pestery. And then for football, I would like to. Ah,
What
that's a
position
tough
was
one.
football? We always gotta start.
Um, I was running back, receiver, and cornerback. So I definitely liked offense. I definitely like playing running back a lot. So my favorite running back of all time, probably obviously Walter Payton. I'm a Bears fan, so but of our generation, I really like Adrian Peterson. So I think and like
That's
Tavon Austin's college highlight film for sure. That was a big one.
how tall are you?
I'm like 5'9". I'm not very tall.
Do you have like can you dunk or
I can't yeah, I can dunk. I do a lot of plyometrics, so
I was
I
gonna
can
like as an 800 guy and hitting the gym, you gotta have some type of different leg strength. Like
yeah, no, yeah. I love the weight room. I've been lifting since like, freshman year or something, but I really when I was a football player, I'd lift a lot. Obviously, I've gotten little less on the weights, but like I've been training more like an athlete instead of a bodybuilder now. Been hitting like, plyometrics, box jumps, cleans, deadlifts, and just kind of variations of that. So if I can palm a ball, I can't really palm a basketball, so it's kind of sometimes hard for me to dunk, but every once in a while I'll get one in.
yeah, what is it like? What does your vert have to be then? It has to be like low key out of this world.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's improved a lot in the last 3 seasons. Honestly, like with doing cross country mileage and stuff, it honestly hasn't like it hasn't decreased my vertical like at all. I've still been like pretty bouncy even with, running like cross country mileage and stuff like that. So I haven't I think I tested my vert freshman sophomore year was like a 32 or something,
Mhm.
but probably increased by now, I would think.
Yeah, and you just said like you run cross country. I'm a Rhode Island runner, and we had Darius Kipiego,
Mhm.
obviously,
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah.
do cross country. So like, what's your experiences with cross country?
Yeah, no, cross country, I like the aspect of the team for sure. It's, fun running for the team. My mileage wasn't, super high at all. It was probably peaked in the summer. I hit 1 week with 40 miles, and then every other week in the summer was around 30 or 35, and then during the season it would decrease with like pre-meet and races, so it'd probably be honestly probably 25 miles a week during cross country.
Hmm. Yeah, and I don't even know like how does cross country in your mind compare to track and indoor or out?
Yeah, cross country kind of like there's because Illinois has a good competition, so cross country for me is kind of just run for the team and compete and get some good training, and obviously want to win obviously. But like compared to indoor now, I definitely like track a lot more. Definitely for sure. Um, Cross country, it's like I like the vibes are a lot. Like I like some of the vibes better, like the early morning, the fall, the summer training. Running a meet and then going to watch college football. I love that aspect.
Mhm.
But yeah, running wise, definitely, and obviously like the different courses and stuff. It's exciting to do that. But I think just track is for me is I like the more fast twitch stuff, and I think the relays and stuff like that is just more exciting in track than cross country. But I totally get it when people say like cross country rather than track because there are some aspects of cross country that I do like.
Yeah, could you rank in order one, two, and three? Outdoor, cross, and indoor?
Definitely go outdoor track first, then indoor, and then probably cross country. Nothing like wrong with cross country. Just I think track is a lot. In my opinion, I like enjoy track a lot more, but nothing wrong with cross country. I still enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy, like it's not crazy, but like it's kind of crazy cool to see like how your career's developed as you develop your weightlifting and everything like
Hmm.
that. And you said more training like an athlete. So
Hmm.
like, what plyometrics would you recommend to anyone watching?
Yeah, so plyometrics, I would do. So I would do these either before or after my leg day.
Mhm.
So I would do 3 sets of 15 of like squat box jumps. So you do like a squat jump and like onto a box. So 3 sets of 15 of that, and then I do 3 by 15 of normal box jumps, jumping up and down, but don't emphasize the height of the box. Emphasize like staying on the ground as least as possible. Like once you hit the ground, you're immediately back up onto that box, just kind of training that fast twitch stuff. And
Mhm.
then I would do the same thing, but holding like a kettlebell. So like 3 by 15 of holding a kettlebell. And again, not emphasizing the weight of the kettlebell, just emphasizing that time on the ground needs to be, as little as possible to treat that explosive mindset. And then I would kind of alternate squat box jumps and then like depth jumps, so standing on the box and then jumping off and jumping up, kind of depth jumps. So
Mhm.
those are kind of plyometrics I would do either before or after a leg day, just to kind of work the fast twitch and explosive muscles.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of mid distance down to sprinting, a lot of it's just twitch muscles, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
How would you like with like reacting getting off the line? How would you react? Like, say you don't get boxed in, or how would you recommend not getting boxed in?
Yeah, so like I my stance like in an 800 as a standing start, it's pretty like everyone like a lot of people are like standing up more. I'm like leaned over like 90 degrees, and when the gun goes off, I'm just out. I feel like my block start needs work a little bit. I have a kind of it's okay, but it's not great. My standing start I feel like is like if I get a good reaction off the gun, I have confidence that I can probably beat most people off the line in the first 20 meters. So just getting that position, not cutting anyone off, and just getting just absolutely getting shot out of a cannon when the gun goes off, and just obviously then you settle into your race and you're not going 100 miles an hour. But I think that first 30 to 50 meters emphasize just getting shot out of a cannon and just getting out.
Yeah. And with your training, how would you like, would you say you build a kick? Is it more in the gym or is it more in workouts or how do you get that kick?
I think it's a little bit of both for sure. Lifting, especially even like people won't really think this at first, but upper body training for sure, like with the arms, like when you pump your arms at the end of having a strong upper body for sure, like having a strong back and shoulders will
Mhm.
help you with that kick. But I think in workouts, probably more important, like the last rep of workouts, like the last rep of a 200, really focus on form and just, giving it everything you have. And sometimes I'll do, like 300. So the first 100 will be, 50, 60%. And then the second 100 will be like 70%. And then that last 100, really bringing it home at like 98, 100%. So I think like transitioning your kick within a workout, like helps a lot too, because in races, someone's going to make a move and you're going to have to respond like in a split second,
Mhm.
especially in the 800 where you just kind of have to follow them and go. So I think workouts like that where the the rep is meant to be like a transitional speed where you're changing speeds middle of the rep, but I think the weight room's also important factor for that too. And then at the end of the day, the kick is just mental, like who wants it more kind of thing. At the end it's going to hurt, so you kind of just have to give everything you got, try to maintain form for sure, but more importantly just give everything you have until the line.
Yeah, and when you're not running, what are you doing?
Like free time, so right now, like probably either in general, just hanging out with friends, doing homework, going to someone's like a friend's house. But obviously, right now, March Madness for sure. I'm on the couch all day yesterday watching March Madness. The brackets struggling a little bit, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah, Kentucky really kind of screwed me over. But yeah, watching sports, I really like watching sports, and playing with my siblings also, like my little brothers. And
Mhm.
I'm not big. I used to be kind of a big video game guy when Fortnite was a big thing, but I haven't really played too many video games since then. But yeah, I mean, I love, going for a bike ride in the summer, going to someone's house, driving around, going to a movie, kind of that sort of thing. I like emphasizing balance and like having a life outside of running for sure.
Yeah, I gotta say, what's the March Madness bracket looking like? Like
Mm.
Final Four? Do you know your Final Four?
Yeah, all my Final Four teams are still in. It's UConn, North Carolina, Creighton, and Duke. And I have UNC beating Creighton in the national championship game. So I kind of took a bet on Creighton, and they're looking pretty strong. They beat Oregon. That was a good game. But
Mhm.
yeah, Kentucky was in my Elite Eight. But if my Final Four teams hold, I think my bracket should be pretty solid. But yeah, how's yours looking?
Yeah, not There's no
You
response
have
to that.
Kentucky.
No, I don't. My dad, so me and my dad always do this bracket pool. He probably is
Yeah,
gonna be watching this as he's listening to this, so shout out dad. But
yeah,
he goes Kentucky for some money, and I will say this since he's probably watching this. Why do you pick Kentucky for the national championship? They have
yeah.
won one game in the last 5 years, but
Every year I feel like with Kentucky, they just got young players that are like 18 and they're going to the draft next year, and that Jack Gulkey will always find a way to torch them.
yeah, it's like it's almost random teams too. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
I know.
it's like
Yeah, it is
Oklahoma
random.
Sooners. I feel like it's like it's most like 2K generated expansion teams where it's
Yeah, yeah,
I
I
don't
know.
know
Yeah,
who these people are,
that's
but
that's the beauty of March Madness, though. That's what makes it super exciting. So yeah,
I gotta say, my friend Bryce, shout out Bryce, he's a big Wisconsin fan, so a little bit of
yeah,
a tough bid going into that, but
yeah. That was rough. I'm not gonna lie. I had them. I was about to have. I had them winning one game because I kind of was afraid that was gonna happen. I've been watching them all season, and they had a super high. They were number 6 in the nation, then they just completely fell off. Then they beat Purdue, which kind of had my hopes up a little bit, but then yeah, good old yeah, it was rough. They couldn't really get anything going.
yeah. So wait, did you have like Kentucky going to the Elite Eight or?
Yeah, I had a lead 8. Yeah,
I mean, your bracket's not crazy, crazy.
no,
I
no,
mean,
it's not terrible. Yeah, I just have like some cheap like second round picks that I got wrong. But yeah, other than that, I mean, it's looking pretty strong going into the Sweet 16.
what's the percent looking like for it? Like, do you do
Like,
ESPN brackets or?
oh, I do it on I forgot what I did. I did it on paper, and then my dad put it into like a pool in I think CBS Sports or something
Yeah.
like. Yeah.
Yeah, I put all my pools into Auburn winning because
Oh,
now looking at it, I will say Auburn's not much better than Kentucky. Choosing Auburn
yeah, yeah,
back up.
no, yeah, that was a rough game too. Yeah, it was exciting though. I had Auburn in the Sweet 16, I think. So
Yeah,
yeah, not a good pick on that one.
Au- Auburn. I thought it was their year, and I guess it just
I
wasn't
know.
their year.
Yeah, when they won the SEC tournament, I was like, all right, they're gonna be pretty good. But I guess I was right. We were all wrong.
Yeah, I also had BYU going pretty far. So
Same. I was pretty high on them too because my dad went to Iowa State, so he's like an Iowa State fan. So
yep.
I watched those games also, and they played Iowa State like they beat them by like 20 in
Mhm.
the early season. Then they played them close when they were playing at Iowa State. So I was pretty high on them, but I was pretty surprised when they lost.
Yeah, tough, just tough. It was a nail biter too. They brought it back,
Yeah, I was
but
in class. Yeah, I was in class, and my friend had an Apple Watch because we couldn't use our phones in that class, and I kept asking him like what the score was on his Apple Watch, and he said like, "Oh, it's not good," and I'm like, "Oh shoot."
yeah, it's not a time to be alive watching the FU
No,
the
yeah,
bracket.
no.
And so Patrick, you're sitting there before a big race, right? You're
Hmm.
getting ready, pumped up, about to crack, just not even crack, just destroy the 150 mark. What are you listening
Hmm.
to get you ready?
I've honestly last year I didn't really listen to music at all, which is very weird. But this year I started to. I know a lot of Drake, some of that Drake, 21 Savage is a big one, and I kind of just yeah. I'm not a huge music guy. Like I like listening to music, in my free time, but yeah, that's kind of like the main songs before a race for sure, and maybe
Any,
some Travis Scott in there also.
anything in particular or like song?
Um, they before a 4x4 one time this indoor season they started playing Fiend by Travis Scott, and that got me going a lot. So that was pretty fun. And then Carnival's a pretty good song. I like that. It's pretty basic. My music taste is very basic. It's not really much. I also like Green Day a lot, but I don't really listen to Green Day before races. But my music taste is very basic, so I wouldn't call myself a music fanatic, but kind of just the basic kind of hype songs before a meet.
Yeah. Well, Patrick, thank you so much for being a guest, and
Mhm.
thank you everyone for watching. Till our next lap. See
Yeah,
ya.
no, thank you so much for bringing me on. I really appreciate it. This was awesome. This was fun. Hopefully your bracket improves, but Yeah, again, just thank you. I really appreciate it. It was fun.
Work. Well, thank you, everyone. See ya.